We would like to thank Professor Georgios Manzaridis, first and foremost. Michael studied under Professor Manzaridis in the 80s at the Aristotelian, and we are very moved to both be here today. Especially. Our regards and our thoughts and wishes to all the organising committee, and especially Nikos, the technical program chair. So without further ado, we will begin. And this presentation is titled Religion, Science and Technology, an interview with the late Metropolitan Kallistos Ware. We'd like to begin by paying our respect to elders past, present and emerging. We are coming to you from New South Wales, Australia, from Dharawal country, where the Wadi Wadi people occupied the territory. The booklet, the great interview with a wonderful human being in Metropolitan Kallistos Ware. The presentation looks at the relationship between religion, science and technology as examined through a single interview that we conducted in 2014 with Yarunda, who was the ecumenical patriarchate in Great Britain as a titular metropolitan. And we produced this small booklet of 20 questions with his kind support. A little bit about the late Metropolitan Kallistos Ware. He was born Timothy Ware in Bath in Somerset in 1934 in England. And he was educated at Westminster School and Magdalen College, Oxford, where he took a double first in classics as well as reading theology.
In 1966, Kallistos became a lecturer at the University of Oxford, teaching Eastern Orthodox studies, a position he held for 35 years until his retirement. In 1979, he was appointed to a fellowship at Pembroke College at Oxford, and he fell asleep in the Lord on August 24th, 2022.
Now, in the interview, we covered so many different things, but focused on religion, science and technology from an Eastern Orthodox perspective. The key issues we addressed in the interview had to do with science and religion, whether they were in conflict or not, technology's impact on the practice of religion, responsible innovation, topics of transhumanism, human enhancement, and even medical prosthesis. And we asked Kallistos, are science and religion in conflict? Are there limits to innovation? Is religious faith threatened by technology at all? And as Ioannis told us in the first talk, what if machines were to achieve perhaps artificial general intelligence?
Metropolitan Kallistos provides a sober critique of topics in technology and society, answering 20 questions and giving readers of diverse backgrounds the opportunity to reflect on the technological trajectories past and present. The theological concepts such as image and likeness, the incarnation, tradition and omniscience are addressed, as are socio-ethical concepts of judgment, freedom, morality and values.
The well-known story of the Tower of Babel from the book of Genesis also serves as a backdrop of discussion related to scientific inquiry, the creation of new technology and the potential for hubris. Kallistos' main thesis in the whole interview was the value of the human person. Metropolitan Kallistos does not find a fundamental conflict between science and religion, but does believe there may be a clash in the pursuit of truth when science attempts to answer questions for which it does not have evidence. Now, while humans cannot live without technology, which is as ancient as humans themselves, advancements in modern technology of the last 200 years have brought with them significant changes in transportation, communication, and production that have not only heralded many benefits, but also introduced new risks that were previously absent. And while technology may have automated much of our manual labor processes, the benefits have not been so automatic.
We examined the fundamental application of technology in this talk and in our interview, and underscore the complex matters as our technological marvels become more complex through convergence, e.g., the development of extended reality, the metaverse and the like, so our responsibility that technologies are not misused becomes greater. For example, the rise of internet addiction by design.
Yes.
We need to direct our technological skills towards sustainable solutions to support human flourishing. In accordance with the Judeo-Christian tradition of creation in the image and likeness of God, as we read in Genesis, Eastern Orthodox anthropology recognizes the intrinsic value of the person. It is much deeper than simply a physical entity in time and space, but rather a being called to deification. And this is the ultimate reconciliation with our Creator. Science and technology themselves cannot provide us with value judgments. They cannot tell us what is right or wrong on an ontological dimension, or how we should proceed on matters to do with the human condition. But religious belief, centered on a higher ethical primacy, can uphold the dignity and fullness of our personhood.
So here we proceed with some interview excerpts. The limits of science. Callistus said, "There may be areas where science cannot give us the answer, and I do not think that our faith in a future life can be proved from science, nor do I think it can be disproved by science. On complex technology that brings risks," he says, "therefore, we have an elaboration of technology far greater than ever existed in the ancient world that brings both advantages and risks." He said, "We have too much knowledge, but not enough wisdom." He said, "We are given greater power through these technological advances, but how are we going to use this power?" Ioannis would totally agree with your premise. But though we have greater knowledge today, is a question whether we actually have greater wisdom. This is particularly true when we look at all the advancements in AI and GPTs and large language models. He notes, what does it mean to be human? And he says the human being is considered without any relationship to God is not truly human. Without God, we are only subhuman. So the image gives us the potentiality to be in communion with God. He says our values come from our faith. And when we are talking about designing new systems, values sensitive design or values by design and values in our communities, these are so important, but where do our values come from? So hubris comes in when we think we can simply develop our technology without inquiring, is this a good or bad application of science? Or are we using our ingenuity for good or bad, or for the support and sustaining and flourishing of humans or not? And he says this classic sentence, machines do not possess God awareness. Machines do not possess God awareness. They are not God-breathed. And he also says, we may love our computers, but our computers do not love us. No matter how much we say computers have feelings or software can be created to be empathic. No, he says, you may love your computer, but your computer does not love you. So his main findings are from the interview, whereas as we will present now.
So religion and science, Bishop Callistos says, are both pursuing truth, but on different levels and by different methods. Technology by itself, he continues, cannot supply us with the ethical standards that we wish to apply. So then, religion is something by which we assess the value or otherwise of technology. We believe as Christians that every person is of infinite value in God's sight. Each person is unique. God expects from each one of us something that he doesn't expect from anyone else. We are not just repetitive stereotypes. Now, any technology which diminishes our personhood, which degrades us as humans, this I see as wrong, Bishop Callistos says. Technology should be used always to enhance our freedom and not to obliterate it. Underlying the story of Babel exactly is an overconfidence in our human powers. It is the story of the Tower of Babel that people think they can build a tower that will reach from earth to heaven. By the power of engineering, they think they can bridge the gap between the human and the divine. So exactly, The story of the Tower of Babel is the story of humans thinking they have unlimited power, and particularly an unlimited power to unite the earthly with the heavenly, whereas such unity can only come through a recognition of our dependence on God. So, it is not perhaps just the application of technology, Bishop Callistos says, that can be wrong, but the actual technology itself, if it involves a wrong use of living creatures, humans or animals. Thus, one cannot make a sharp distinction between the technology in itself and how we apply it. Perhaps the technology itself may involve a wrongful use of humans, animals, or natural things. The bishop continues in another part of our book. We are not simply machines, and this is something Bishop Callistos would often emphasize. We have been given free will. We have the possibility to communicate with God. So in assuming that the human being is merely a machine, we are going far beyond the actual facts of science, far beyond the empirical application of technology, since this is an assumption with deep religious implications. Thus, there can be conflict when science and technology go beyond their proper limits and when they do not show respect for our personhood.
In conclusion, we see that there are several layers of depth. At first, Bishop Callistos says the creative genius is a gift from God to be nurtured, to be used to sustain and enhance life. There are no limits to innovation, so long as we do not hurt humans, animals, or our earth. And we often say the sky is the limit, but even then it's not. But we cannot hurt humans, animals, and the earth. At a deeper layer, when we asked him, what about the potential for things like Neuralink, before Neuralink was even a thing? We asked him about the concept of brain in a vat, to which there was no reply except a sigh. He said afterwards, I find it difficult to accept the idea that human beings might be transcended by some new kind of living creature, whether that's transhuman or the potentiality of downloading our brains into a computer. And finally, he emphasized the human person. He said, without love, we are not human. For those who would like to find out more about the interview, you can download it from Amazon. It was published by M&K Press at the University of Wollongong. You can also log on to the IEEE Technology and Society magazine, where you will find the interview transcript. It was downloaded at one time over 20,000 times a month. It received great embrace from our community all over the world. And we have also written some newer pieces with colleagues. Finally, we would like to thank God for the life of Geronda Callistos, all the books he produced, and the energy that he had to leave behind such a legacy for our Eastern Orthodox community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.